Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 5th Annual Florida Automated Vehicle Summit, brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation, the Center for Urban Transportation Research at USF, and the Tampa Hillsborough Expressway Authority. My name is Joe Waggoner, and I'm the Executive Director of THEA, and we are so happy to be your host for this exciting conference of the ACES Summit. What is ACES? That's Automated, Connected, Electric, and Shared. It's our future, and we think it's bright. In 2013, when THEA co-hosted the first event with the DOT, we were just talking about automated vehicles, and then the industry and the technology has exploded since then. And now we're talking about all kinds of different ways to make transportation more safe, sustainable, and efficient. We have a robust summit planned for you today, over the next 2 days, with industry leaders, community leaders, and educators all part of this event. My hope is that you'll leave here inspired and challenged to continue to expand and improve ACES concepts in your communities. Today, I was to have the privilege of introducing Mayor Bob Buckhorn, the 58th mayor of Tampa. Due to unfortunate circumstances, he can't be with us this morning. He's been a great supporter of his town of Tampa, but as a member of my board, he's also embraced the AV and CV technology for the city of Tampa and greater Tampa Bay as well. He sees the future and how it can help his community and the region in general. Mayor Buckhorn served this city since 2011. He has overseen a vibrant growth of the community, rapid expanding urban core, while still recognizing and celebrating its diverse and charming neighborhoods. Tampa has received many accolades and as one of the fastest growing metro areas in the country. Tampa has been designated a top city for entrepreneurs and one of the hottest cities for startups. So any of you AV, CV, tech organizations out there or companies, Tampa is open for business. Tampa Bay is open for business. So I'll go right to my introduction of the Florida Department of Transportation Secretary, Mike Dew. Prior to being named as Secretary, Mike was FDOT's Chief of Staff. Governor Scott said that Mike's hard work and leadership and commitment to excellence has and will continue to push Florida's world-class transportation system as an engine for economic growth and job creation. Mike is the head of an agency that has responsibility for quite a few things. The list is unbelievable. Over 122,000 highway miles in the nation's third largest population state. 20 commercial airports, which help to transport over 107 million people to Florida every year. 2 spaceports. Now there's something not every DOT secretary can put on his resume. 31 urban transit systems, 15 seaports, and about 2,900 quarter miles of rail that move more than 743 million tons of freight in the state, which has the 16th largest economy in the world. It's a heck of a state, and we have a great DOT. And now I'd like to introduce the Secretary, Mike Dew.
Good morning, everyone. Joe, thank you for that introduction, and thank you to you and your team for all the hard work that went into putting together the event that we'll be at here for the next 2 days. I would also like to say a special thank you to the other person up here on stage with us. This event has become what it is, and Florida is the leader in this space nationwide because of the vision and the efforts put in Tallahassee on the policy front by Senator Jeff Brandes. So please give Joe and his team and Senator Brandes a round of applause for their leadership. Florida is proud to be at the top spot in the nation for automated and connected vehicle testing. And that's not going to be changing anytime soon with the introduction of our new state-of-the-art SunTrax facility. Located just outside of Lakeland at Florida Polytech, this secured environment will allow for the testing of all types of automated and connected vehicle technologies. Vendors will be able to test how their systems work in a variety of different environments, such as urban settings, a construction zone, and tunnels, all with various pavement conditions. And working with our local partners, like Joe Waggoner at THEA and Mayor Buckhorn, we've been able to see pilot projects come to life right here on our streets. Florida DOT is working with the Hillsborough Area Regional Transit Authority to develop an autonomous shuttle to replace existing buses. It's just outside here if you haven't had a chance to see it this morning. A similar type of service is being considered in Orlando by the Link system. Florida is also working with Gainesville's regional transit system to implement an autonomous shuttle system. It is in the late stages of the procurement process and will be one of the first implemented on open streets along with cars, bikes, and pedestrians. And the Jacksonville Transportation Authority is working on a new automated system to modernize their existing skyway. None of this would have been possible without the foresight and effort put forth by Governor Scott and the legislature. Leaders like Governor Scott and Senator Brandis have transformed ideas and visions into reality through policy and laws that guide the future of automated and connected vehicle testing in Florida. From Tallahassee to Tampa and Orlando to Miami, through our pilot programs, we are seeing glimpses of the future of transportation technology that will occur not only in Florida, but in the rest of the nation as well. At the University of Florida in Gainesville, Florida DOT is working on a truck platooning project that will allow multiple trucks to communicate with each other to follow closely together through the use of automated technology. This is estimated to reduce fuel costs by 10 to 20% and increase safety on our roads by reducing human interaction. We're taking a look at the many issues involved, including platooning's effect on interchange operations and interaction with law enforcement. In partnership with UF and the City of Gainesville, the US campus and surrounding streets will serve as an emerging technology testbed. This will ultimately have one of the most extensive deployments in the nation to date of connected vehicle and other emerging technology equipment. We're also looking at how to reduce congestion and improve safety along I-75 between Gainesville and Ocala. As part of the program known as Florida's Regional Advanced Mobility Elements, or I-75 frame, we're looking at not only crash avoidance, but also passive detection and warnings to drivers to more efficiently divert traffic. And we are working with the University of Central Florida to develop an autonomous simulator to test human reactions to different messages that may come from an autonomous or a connected vehicle. As you can tell, we are investing time, effort, and funding across Florida to ensure that we are ready for the future. And as exciting as these and other projects are, there is only so much that we can do as a state transportation agency. We rely heavily on industry and innovators to help develop what's going to be next, and our role is to make sure that we're preparing as efficiently as possible to be ready for what the future brings us. We clearly recognize the potential safety and mobility benefits these technologies may deliver across multiple modes, vehicles, pedestrians, and cyclists, and are committed to supporting their success. Now, as we get ready for the future, and there's going to be a lot of conversation about that over the next day and a half, I want to share a really quick story. A few weeks ago, I had the chance to sit down with a group of about 20 young people who are at the start of their career at Florida DOT. They all come from an engineering background and are participants in our PE training program. They're beginning the process of preparing for one day applying for licensure as a professional engineer in the state of Florida. They are the incoming crop of problem solvers who are going to grapple with the issues that you all will be discussing over the next couple of days. Over the course of the PE training program, they get exposed to all the various engineering disciplines within the department, so they get a good cross-section of what our role is and kind of what they're embarking on as they begin their journey. But I shared a story with the PE trainees that I think is kind of fascinating. We at the department have a gentleman that works for us who recently celebrated his 59th year of service to the state of Florida. And I have to be careful when I say that because I have to be clear that it's service to the state of Florida, not to FDOT, because when he started his career in 1958, there was no FDOT. We were still the state road department. And if you think about the transformative change, not only in the state, but specifically in transportation, just think what he's seen over the course of 59 years. When he started in 1958, there were no interstates because we were only 2 years removed from President Eisenhower signing in 1956 the law that created the interstate highway system. But I shared that with the PE trainees, not because any of them are going to work for FDOT for 60 years. That would be, I think, highly unlikely. But I do think over the course of their careers, if you look at the challenges that the state of Florida will be facing as we continue to grow, as we continue to improve safety and add capacity, we're going to have to start engaging more with the emerging technologies and the disruptive technologies. Those PE trainees are going to see just as much transformative change over the course of their career as the gentleman who works in our District 5 office has over 59 years. The world is going to change just as much for them as it has for him. And so we are really focused on our partnerships and making sure that we're doing everything we can to give not only the PE trainees, but our planners, our finance folks, our lawyers, everybody across the agency who's going to have to deal with the changing world that we're going to be living in. We're doing our best to get ready. We look forward to hearing from you on ways we can improve on our preparedness. And again, looking forward to strengthening our partnerships and hearing about all the really exciting things that are going to be discussed over the next couple of days here. It is a pleasure to be here with you. And again, look forward to further conversation over the next day and a half here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Secretary Dew. It's great to have a DOT is involved in pressing forward on all fronts is the Florida Department of Transportation. In addition to all the gee whiz that automated and connected vehicles bring, there's another side to consider, the practical business of having policies and laws that help bring these ideas to life. What, Sue? Sue? What? I lose sleep worrying about this kind of thing. People, sorry.
Very special delivery.
Ah.
One for you.
Thank you. So what did R2D2 bring to us? Okay. Mr. Waggoner, the conference planning team for the 2017 Florida Automated Vehicle Summit would like to present its first ever Leadership and Innovation Award to an extremely deserving recipient. Our choice for this award has transformed the Sunshine State into a welcoming place for ACES technology and has paved the way for projects such as your CV pilot project, FDOT's SunTrax test track. He is an outspoken supporter of this technology and understands its impact on transportation, infrastructure, and economic development. Mr. Waggoner, please present this award to Senator Jeff Brandes. Jeff? Don't go far, Senator, because you're coming right back. So when I first started looking into this whole business of automated vehicle technology 4.5 years ago, it was a result of I saw some legislation put forth by a pretty young state senator, Brandes, and my first thought was, what's he drinking for lunch? And, but after I went and started reading on where we are, I was really stunned by how much progress had taken place in the field in literally the 10 years prior to that. So I talked my board into letting us spend some money to get into it, and it's been a very rewarding, and I think it promises a golden future for us here in Florida and across the country. So we owe that to Senator Brandes, thinking forward and moving, not just thinking about it, but doing it. It's going to help us transform our life, and it's going to save lives. It's a wonderful thing. Senator, would you please come up and say a few words?
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So excited to be here. I joined the Army 7 days after high school, mostly because my mom was the headmaster at the high school that I went to, and it was just the best way to get away from her. So I joined the Army 7 days after high school. I spent 11 years in the military. I was a transportation officer at 19 and was called up to serve in the 101st during Iraq in 2003, 2004, and traveled the country doing convoys all over the country of Iraq. And it was a fascinating experience for me. I got out thinking that I would work for my family business, which they promptly sold. And so I had to find something else to do with my life, decided that I would look at running for public office. Ran for office, won by just over 1,000 votes in my first election, and decided that I would work on this issue of transportation. In Tallahassee, there's a variety of different issues that you can work on, and transportation was something I kind of gravitated towards because I had this experience having served 11 years in the military. On one of my drives up to Tallahassee, I'm a podcast addict and was listening to a TED Talk and listened to Sebastian Thrun's TED Talk in 2009 about autonomous vehicles and the DARPA Grand Challenges. And as I listened to it, I found myself listening to it again and again and again. I probably listened to it 5 or 6 times on the road up to Tallahassee. I turned to my legislative aide at the time and I said, "We are going to do a bill on self-driving cars." And he said, "You're a freshman House member, and that's insane. Don't do this." So I did what any good legislative aide, or what every good legislator does, was I listened to my legislative aides, and I didn't do the bill that year. But the next year I got a new legislative aide. And he was not as good as convincing me to do something else. And so in 2011, Florida became the second state to work on autonomous vehicles, and reached out to Google, and Google was incredibly helpful of helping us think through the early policy stages of where this technology could go. I still remember having to convince other legislators how what we were going to do. In fact, I went to the current Speaker of the House, so he was not the Speaker then, Richard Corkin. I said, I need your help. I need to find a Senate sponsor for this piece of legislation. So who did he call? Well, he called his friend Joe Negron, who is the current Senate President of the Florida Senate. I'm not sure that President Negron still knows the bill that he that he passed. In fact, he made me present in every single committee so that he didn't have to stand in front of his colleagues. And I remember one of his colleagues asking me on the record, "Is this witchcraft?" But fast forward to where we are today, which is a Department of Transportation that speaks this language, which is the first Department of Transportation in the country to have in its statute included that it must consider autonomous vehicles in its future planning. To me, that is powerful. To a state that's hosting its 5th conference on AV, that's thinking outside the box, when we're thinking about electric vehicles, when we're thinking about the shared economy, and we're thinking about autonomous vehicles. And we're putting all those together because we think that is where the future is going. It's incredibly exciting to see the direction that we're headed. It's incredibly exciting to share the vision with you of where Department of Transportation is going. And I'm excited to continue to champion this for as long as I serve in the Florida legislature. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Senator. Now that we've heard from some truly inspirational speakers, I get the lovely task of doing some housekeeping. While I'm talking, can we please have our next speakers come up to the stage? That would be Alex, Riley, and Alden. You guys can migrate on up here so we can get ready to go as soon as I'm done doing this business. We have packed this summit with lots of great speakers, topics, and information. The schedule is pretty tight, so we're going to try our best to keep on time, and we'd like you to do your part by being on time, if you can, please. Restrooms are out the back door, down the hall on your right, not all the way to the checkout, but in that direction. They are signs. Lunch today will be a split operation. For those of you who paid the VIP price, which, by the way, allowed 20 students to come to this event free, of no charge cost to them, your lunch will be in Armani's on the 14th floor. For everybody else, lunch will be out in the pavilion, which is, if you saw any of the unveiling of the HART transit vehicle this morning, it's back out the front doors and to your right. There are signs, and we have a lot of staff out there to help you find the location if you're not sure where to get to. It's a short walk. It's a huge air-conditioned tent in the parking lot, and for either lunch today or tomorrow, there will be plenty of people to help you find your way. The demonstrations are also out that way. As you go down the hall, we have demonstrations. We have people with a lot of research they've done. I'd like you to visit them. And tucked over in a corner just to the right, it's actually right over in that corner, we have some more vendors who have demonstrating equipment. I encourage you to go around the corner and visit them. We appreciate your attendance, and we appreciate their coming here to help us do this event and spread the knowledge. The posters, I said, are in Audubon D on the hallway, which is right out those doors behind you, and in the back out near the lobby. There is one change to the agenda that's in your program. The reception tonight is going to be in the lobby. Again, that's right outside these doors behind you. As many of you know, it takes many hands and many sponsors to put together a conference like this. We're showing the names of our sponsors on these screens right now. There were many, and the investment was great. Sometimes not just in a contribution to help us, fund various parts of it, but they lent manpower to the effort as well. It is much appreciated. Now to continue on with the program, I'd like to introduce your host for the rest of the day, but actually I think I'm going to turn that over to Senator Brandis. Did you want to say something? No? Okay, you good? All right. So I'd like to introduce your host for the rest of the day, and that would be Alex Roy. He's the editor of The Drive, which is a one-stop website devoted to all things automotive. This includes the latest in car tech, global auto news, and in-depth vehicle reviews. He's also set several endurance driving records and sounds from his Wikipedia entry like a very interesting person. Maybe not the most interesting guy in the world, but a very interesting person. Please welcome Alex Roy.